The arrival of the transport ship's hull groaned as it docked with Nexus 7, the galaxy's most notorious prison world. Through reinforced viewports, the structure loomed like a metallic tumor against the crimson sky, all sharp angles and pulsing. Energy conduits that screened danger to any species with survival instincts. Kythex Prime adjusted his biomechanical implants, savoring the anticipation. The Velkhar had perfected the art of breaking lesser beings over millennia, turning agony into entertainment for the Confederation's elite. Today's specimen promised to be particularly amusing. Another human, his assistant Velkhar 9 chittered, mandibles clicking with disdain. These primates usually break within the first cycle. Their neural patterns are surprisingly fragile, despite their reputation. The prisoner transfer tube hissed open, releasing clouds of cryogenic vapor. Through the mist stepped Technical Sergeant Marcus Kellaway, Earth Defense Corps, service number burned into his retinas during countless briefings. His weathered face showed no fear, only the calm assessment of a man who'd survived 3 alien wars. The restraint collar around his neck hummed with neural dampeners, but Marcus barely noticed. His enhanced metabolism was already processing the nanite payload Dr. Voss had injected before his capture. 72 hours to map this facility's weaknesses. 72 hours to endure whatever these squid-faced bastards could dish out. Welcome to your new reality, human. Kythex Prime's translator rendered his words into grinding mechanical sounds. I am Warden Kythex Prime. You will find our hospitality ... educational. Marcus rolled his shoulders, joints popping audibly. Educational, you say? I was hoping for a challenge. My drill sergeant back on Titan could teach you boys a thing or two about motivation. The warden's tentacles writhed, a sign of irritation among his species. Most prisoners arrived screaming or catatonic. This one's casual defiance was ... unexpected. Your bravado will fade quickly, Kythex Prime assured him. We have broken Krellian berserkers, Thorian war priests, even a Nexari hive mind collective. Your species' pain thresholds are well documented. Documented by who? The survivors? Marcus grinned, showing too many teeth. Because from where I'm standing, you haven't met the right human yet. Velkhar 9's secondary arms twitched nervously. The prisoner's biometrics showed elevated adrenaline, but no fear pheromones. His heart rate was steady, breathing controlled. Either this human was defective, or Earth's military had evolved beyond their intelligence reports. Take him to Processing Bay 7, Kythex Prime commanded. Begin with standard neural probes. I want to understand what makes this one so confident. As the guards escorted him deeper into the facility, Marcus cataloged every security checkpoint, every structural weakness. The nanites in his bloodstream hummed with microscopic purpose, already beginning their infiltration of the prison's networks. Time to put on a show. The testing begins. Processing Bay 7 reeked of ozone and fear sweat from 1,000 previous victims. The examination chair resembled something between a surgical table and an electric chair, bristling with neural probes, pain amplifiers, and bioscanners that had made the galaxy's hardest criminals weep. Marcus settled into the restraints with the casual air of a man getting comfortable in a recliner. Cozy setup you've got here. Very retro. Earth went through a similar phase during our medieval period, though we called it the Spanish Inquisition. Technician Velkhar 12 activated. The neural interface, watching readouts cascade across holographic displays. The human's brain patterns were fascinating complex. Neural pathways that seemed to reroute around pain centers automatically. Beginning cognitive mapping, Velkhar 12 announced. The first probe pierced Marcus's skull with surgical precision, designed to trigger overwhelming agony as it interfaced with his nervous system. Marcus yawned. Probe malfunction? Kythex Prime inquired from the observation deck. Negative, Warden. All systems optimal. The human's pain receptors are registering the stimulus, but his neural response is ... minimal. Marcus flexed against the restraints, testing their strength. Good titanium carbide composite, but the joints showed microscopic stress fractures. The nanites were already analyzing metallurgical compositions, finding weaknesses. "Is that all you've got?" he asked conversationally. "My last dental cleaning was more uncomfortable than this." The technician increased power by 30%. Warning lights flashed as energy coursed through the neural probe. Marcus's body convulsed briefly, then settled. He actually smiled. "Better. You're starting to get my attention." Through the observation deck's transparent aluminum, Confederation officials watched in stunned silence. These were beings who'd witnessed the breaking of war chiefs and terror priests, yet this human treated their most advanced torture devices like minor inconveniences. Perhaps psychological pressure? Suggested observer Crex Omega, her crystalline form refracting nervous light patterns. His species forms emotional attachments. Show him images of Earth's destruction? Already tried during transport, Velkhar 9 reported. His response was, quote, "You should see what we did to your forward bases." Kythex Prime's biomechanical eye focused on the human. Something was wrong here. No species developed this level of pain tolerance naturally. Either Earth's military conditioning had surpassed all known limits, or this prisoner was hiding something. "Increase neural probe intensity to maximum," he ordered. "Warden, that level has killed previous subjects. Do it." Energy flooded Marcus's nervous system like liquid fire. Every nerve ending screamed in harmony, a symphony of agony that would have shattered lesser minds. The nanites worked frantically to repair cellular damage while maintaining their primary mission. Marcus threw back his head and laughed, actually laughed as electricity arced between his teeth. "Now we're talking. This reminds me of survival. Training on Europa. The instructors used to say, pain is just weakness leaving the body. Though personally, I always thought of it more as a warm-up exercise." The observation deck fell silent. In 3,000 years of operation, no subject had ever responded to maximum neural stimulation with genuine amusement. "Impossible," Velkhar 12 whispered. Marcus met Kythex Prime's gaze through the observation window and winked. "The entertainment begins." The grand amphitheater of Nexus 7 hadn't seen such attendance in decades. Word of the unusual human had spread through Confederation elite circles like wildfire. Crystalline beings from the Nexari Collective floated in specialized atmosphere pods, while Thorian nobles tested their ceremonial claws on viewing railings made from compressed. And EUTRONIUM. Lord Zefax Quintus, entertainment coordinator for the Confederation's upper echelons, gestured grandly with 4 of his 6 arms. "Distinguished guests, today we present a specimen unlike any in our archives. Observe." The arena floor iris dilated, revealing Marcus, strapped to a gravitational torture device, sphere of warped spacetime that pulled his body in 6 different directions simultaneously. The mechanism had reduced Krellian bone breakers to powder within minutes. Marcus was doing stretches. "Ah, there we go," he grunted, working out a crick in his neck as gravitational forces tried to tear him apart at the molecular level. "Much better than the chiropractor back home. You guys should market this thing." In the VIP section, Confederation Admiral Vex Major's compound eyes bulged with disbelief. How is his skeletal structure maintaining integrity? "Our intelligence reports indicated human bone density was inferior to most warrior species." "Unknown, Admiral," his aide replied nervously. "Perhaps Earth's gravity is higher than our estimates." Marcus caught sight of the crowd and waved with his free hand, the one that wasn't being stretched by artificial gravity wells. "Hey there, folks. Thanks for coming out tonight. This beats performing in empty venues." The nanites continued their silent work, having infiltrated 47% of the facility's systems. Each moment of Marcus's suffering was buying them access to security protocols, weapon systems, and most importantly, the location of every prisoner's cell in the complex.kyt hex prime activated the next phase. Sonic disruptors emerged from the arena walls, designed to vibrate at frequencies that would liquefy most beings' internal organs. The sound hit Marcus like a physical force, rattling his bones and making his teeth ache. He started humming along. Classic. Frequency. We use something similar for breaking up kidney stones back home. Though I think you're a few hertz off the medical standard. The crowd's excited chittering faded to confused murmurs. Even the bloodthirsty Thorians seemed unsettled by this human's apparent imperviousness to suffering. Perhaps sensory deprivation? Suggested entertainment sub-coordinator Velkhar 7. Complete neural isolation has proven effective on resistant subjects. No, Kythex Prime said slowly, studying Marcus's biometrics. The human's stress hormones were actually decreasing. His heart rate had settled into what appeared to be a meditative rhythm. He's enjoying this. Change tactics. The gravitational torture device retracted, leaving Marcus hanging in simple energy shackles. Around the arena's perimeter, panels slid, back to reveal the facility's other prisoners' broken beings from a dozen species, all reduced to whimpering shadows of their former selves. Behold your future, human. Kythex Prime's voice boomed through the amphitheater speakers. Even the mightiest eventually break. Marcus surveyed the other prisoners with genuine sadness, then looked back at the observation deck with steel in. His eyes. You know what the difference is between you and me? He called out, his voice carrying clearly in the amphitheater's acoustics. I volunteered for this. The breaking point hour 68. The nanites had infiltrated 93% of Nexus 7 systems, their microscopic forms spreading through data conduits like digital cancer. Marcus hung in the center of the apex chamber, the facility's ultimate breaking room, where the Velkhar saved their most stubborn subjects for final processing. Every torture device in their arsenal had been deployed. Against him, molecular acid. Baths that had dissolved Thorian war chiefs. Psychic scramblers that had driven Nixiri hive minds to madness. Neural feedback loops that had reduced proud Krellian berserkers to vegetables. Marcus was composing limericks. There once was a warden named Prime, who thought torture was simply sublime. He recited while suspended in a field of pure agony that existed only in theoretical physics textbooks. But he met a Marine who stayed quite serene and just called it a good passing time. Kythex Prime's biomechanical components were overheating from stress. In 3 millennia of operations, he'd never encountered a subject who improved under torture. The human's neural patterns had actually stabilized, forming new pathways that seemed to convert pain into something resembling pleasure. Impossible. He muttered for the 1000th time. No species evolves this level of masochistic adaptation. Perhaps we should dissect him? SUGEESSTE D Velkhar 9. Study his neural architecture directly? No. The Confederation elite demand a proper breaking ceremony. We cannot disappoint our patrons. In the VIP observation sphere, the galaxy's most powerful beings watched in fascination and growing unease. What they'd expected to be an evening's entertainment had become something else entirely, a demonstration of impossible endurance that challenged their fundamental understanding of biological limitations. Admiral Vex Major leaned forward. His sensor arrays focused on the human. Run a deep scan on his cellular structure. There must be augmentation technology we're not detecting. The scans revealed Marcus's body at the molecular level, showing cellular damage and repair happening simultaneously. But there was something else, microscopic structures moving through his bloodstream that didn't match any known medical nanites. Warden, came an urgent transmission from the security center. We're detecting anomalous readings in the facilities. Core systems, possible infiltration protocols. Kythex Prime's attention snapped to the security feeds, but everything appeared normal. Guards at their posts, containment fields stable, weapon systems primed. "Run full diagnostics," he ordered, but deep in his biomechanical core, dread was beginning to take root. Marcus caught the warden's distraction and allowed himself a private smile. The nanits were almost finished. Soon, very soon, the real show would begin. "Hey, Kythex," he called out cheerfully. "You know what humans say about counting chickens before they hatch? Your proverbs are meaningless, human." "Maybe. But here's another one. It's always darkest before the dawn." Marcus tested his restraints one final time, feeling the energy. Fields that held him humming with barely contained power. And sunrise is coming whether you're ready or not. The warden's sensors detected nothing unusual in the human's biometrics. No elevated stress, no deception markers. Just that same infuriating calm that had characterized his entire stay. 4 hours remaining until the 72-hour mark. 4 hours until Earth's most classified. Military nanits finished their infiltration and began their primary directive. Marcus settled back into the torture field and started working on another limerick. The dawn hour 72, minute 0. The transformation began subtly a flicker in the lighting systems, a momentary hesitation in the artificial gravity. Marcus felt the nanits complete their final connections to Nexus 7's core systems, their programming shifting from reconnaissance to sabotage. "Warning," came an automated announcement throughout the facility. "System anomaly detected in sector." The voice cut off as the nanits seized control of the communications array. KYT Hex Prime's biomechanical eye focused on his primary displays as error messages cascaded across multiple screens. "Security. Breach in progress. All units to the gravity failed." Throughout Nexus 7, beings accustomed to the facility's standard gravitational field suddenly found themselves floating. Panic spread through the observation decks as Confederation elites struggled with unfamiliar weightlessness while their guards fumbled for emergency protocols that no longer responded to commands. Marcus's energy restraints flickered and died. He drifted free, rotating slowly in the chamber's center as alarms that couldn't quite decide what to warn about blared conflicting messages. "Impressive," he said conversationally to Kythex Prime, who was frantically interfacing with his command. "Systems. Your facility's security is actually pretty sophisticated. Too bad it was designed by species that think digital warfare is pointing lasers at each other." Containment fields throughout the prison complex began failing in sequence. In cell block, Omega, the Thorian war chief Grimthax Dread, felt his restraints deactivate for the first time in 2 decades. In the psychiatric wing, broken prisoners suddenly found their minds clearing as neural suppressors shut down. And in the deepest levels of Nexus 7, in cells reserved for the most dangerous beings in known space, locks that hadn't opened in centuries clicked open with mechanical finality. "You," Kythex Prime snarled, his tentacles writhing as he finally understood. "This was planned. You're not a prisoner. You're an invasion force." Marcus pushed off from a floating piece of debris, directing himself toward the warden with practiced zero-gravity maneuvering. Invasion's a strong word. I prefer hostile rescue operation. See, Earth doesn't leave its people behind. And we really don't like bullies. The facility's weapon systems turned on their masters. Automated turrets that had kept prisoners in line for millennia now targeted Velkhar guards. Security drones designed to suppress riots began systematically, destroying containment equipment. Through the observation deck's transparent barriers, the Confederation elite watched in horror as their entertainment venue transformed into a war zone. Emergency shuttles launched from hidden bays, carrying the galaxy's most powerful beings away from what had become ground zero of a prison break unprecedented in galactic history. The other prisoners, Kythex Prime realized with growing horror. You're freeing war criminals, terrorists, beings imprisoned for fighting back against your Confederation's expansion. Marcus interrupted, now close enough to grab the Warden's primary control interface. Funny how everyone who resists galactic tyranny ends up being labeled a terrorist. Throughout Nexus 7, freed prisoners were discovering that the facility's own weapons were now available to them. Beings who'd spent decades in captivity began settling scores with their captors while Marcus's nanits helpfully provided facility, maps, and guard locations. "This is impossible," Kythex Prime whispered as his life's work crumbled around him. No single being could orchestrate. "You're right," Marcus agreed, finally reaching the Warden and placing one hand on his biomechanical skull. "But I'm not single. I'm human, and when you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us." The last thing Kythex Prime heard before Marcus crushed his primary processor was the human's voice, no longer cheerful or conversational, but carrying the weight of an entire species' promise. Every human you've tortured, every prisoner you've broken, every being you've destroyed for your entertainment, they all just got their justice. And Earth sends its regards. As Nexus 7 burned around them and freedom spread through the galaxy's most secure prison, Marcus Kellaway, Technical Sergeant, Earth Defense Corps, finally allowed himself to smile without pretense. Mission accomplished. Welcome to humanity's idea of a warm-up.